Hey everybody. Just wanted to do a kind of an earlier morning drive, lower traffic. I'm heading to the highway. The goal is to just do sort of an unedited um, highway assist and efficiency, kind of all in one, just as long, until I get tired of it basically. Just trying to show real world highway assist, real world fuel efficiency, fuel efficiency, real world efficiency for the R2. I guess electricity is sort of fuel in a sense, but anyway. Um, so yeah, just, the other highway assist video I made, it was kind of spliced together from various roads, and obviously I'm not misrepresenting anything, but when you have a single uncut video, it's kind of irrefutable, right? Like you can't hide any problems with the system. You kind of know exactly what you're getting. So that's the goal, and hopefully this vantage point for the video is fine with everyone. I just need a better equipment at this point to really get the better POVs. My suction cup mount is very, the arm is like way too short, so I have to get creative with the positioning. But you can, I believe, yeah, it looks like you can see the driver display and a decent view of the road. You get mostly hood, but that's the R2. You get a lot of hood in the R2. So yeah, we're gonna head to the divided highway, and we are going to do some driving during pretty low traffic early Sunday morning. And there will likely be long stretches of the video where I don't talk or say anything, and hopefully that's okay. Now, as you know, highway assist does not do on-ramps and off-ramps right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and disengage just to do that. I could just steer and override, but I'm pretty sure this turn is too sharp and it would disengage anyway, so I just kind of preemptively disengaged. And we're gonna re-engage, and I'm gonna set the speed on the car to 75, which I think is probably about 73 actual speed, but I like 75 personally. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. I have a window a window rattle in my rear driver's side, and the solution is to find the absolute minimum amount that the window is open, but I try to get it so where it doesn't actually impact the wind noise, but I'd rather have a little wind noise than the persistent rattle. And I am heading back to get that addressed next week, but for now it's still there. And sorry if you hear me slurping on a drink. I have an energy drink that I have to have today because I'm kind of tired. And you might hear it rattling in the cup holder, so sorry. And the car is actually a very smooth ride on the interstate. My phone mount, however, is not doing a great job of representing that. It is a little shaky, so apologies for the shakiness throughout. And just a reminder, I am on the all-terrain tires, so certainly if you were on the 21s, your efficiency would be probably 10% higher than what I'm gonna get at the end of this. And that reminds me, I'm gonna go in and clear my trip meter. You can't see it, but that was on the main screen. And of course, as soon as I did that, I got pinged to keep my eyes on the road, which is good. One thing I do like about, well, not just the R2, I think R1 Gen 2 is the same, but you have really 3 ways to ensure that your blind spot is clear. You have the actual mirror, which has the physical blind spot light on the mirror. You have on the driver display I don't know if you saw it, the little yellow like caution thing that appears on the rear left, or whatever side a car is passing you on. And then of course, if you put your turn signal on, you'll have the blind spot camera pop up. So you really have no excuse. If you ever want to know if something's in your blind spot, you've got a lot of ways to tell. And honestly, the blind spot in this vehicle is not very large, just from the mirror. Like a small, tiny little car maybe could fit in it, but I haven't noticed any issues with that whatsoever. It could also just be the way I do my mirrors. I do my mirrors so that none of my vehicle is in view, but it's just out of the mirror frame, basically. I think that's kind of the way I was taught. It would be really nice if I could find a driving partner that would just go like 75 or I guess 73, but I'm probably gonna have to slowly pass people, and it's pretty empty, so I'm gonna go ahead and signal. Vehicle obviously is gonna wait for that car to pass and then make the lane change. Perfect. And we are now in the day mode for the displays, since it is auto night day brightness setting. And I've made the pass, so I'm going to signal to get back over. Yeah, I mean, I've had no problems whatsoever with the auto lane change. Aside from the first day I got the car, I think there was a glitch that uh, it wasn't working on highways that it should have, and then that basically was resolved after one sleep cycle. I guess, realized what it was capable of after a good night's sleep, and then got back to the normal function. And that was also possibly just a bug in the previous version. I haven't had that happen since the recent software update. You do see sort of when that extra lane appeared, the car had sort of a hunting tendency. It started heading toward the right side, but then once the lines came in, it immediately knew it was supposed to be in this lane. So I didn't have a problem with that at all. Oh, I haven't mentioned yet. I do have my HVAC set to 70 degrees, but I've set it to manual fan level 1, and it's fine. It's still cool outside since it's early. I don't feel the need to turn it any higher. I feel like off is maybe a little too stale. I like to have some air circulating, so fan speed 1 is fine for right now. And then I am in all-purpose ride feel moderate. Actually, I'm going to change it to soft, see if that takes a few of the bumps out. Honestly, I have a pretty difficult time telling the difference between moderate and soft. I think I can feel the difference between firm and soft in certain circumstances, but it's minor. Obviously, these aren't huge adjustments. They're not like the ride modes in the R1 with the air suspension that kind of changes its entire personality. These are very minor tweaks. I mean, the suspension in any setting is very soft and very compliant, but I'm sure someone with a more discerning feel could tell the difference more than me, but it's just my impression. case you're wondering what I'm drinking, it is a Monster Zero Ultra Energy. It's the 10-calorie one. Not sponsored, by the way. Monster, if you'd like to sponsor a roughly 175 subscriber channel, let me know. I have very favorable terms. This road surface is really wreaking havoc on the on this phone mount. Sorry about this. Some of these stretches are a little rough, and then some are fine, so you never really know what you're getting. For the most part, the roads in Tennessee are really good, but there are some parts that need to be resurfaced. And, you know, people in the Northeast are probably looking at this and laughing that I'm even mentioning anything about this surface, because there's not massive potholes everywhere. Fortunately, there are quite a few dead animals in the road. I'm not going to intervene to avoid them. That's just the way it is. I'm sure it'll impact my tire look and feel a little bit. Might splatter some nasty stuff on the car, but that's what they make car washes for. So I will intervene to avoid a live animal for what it's worth. I think the main purpose of this video, I guess, was to sort of show a typical commute time frame. So I know I don't personally commute since I don't have a job, but when I used to commute, it was, 40 to 45, 50 minutes, depending on traffic. And that's kind of probably the length of time that I'm going to be driving for this video. Just so you can see, how is universal hands-free on a typical commute. If you have a kind of a highway-based commute like this, maybe another video I might do like a more urban commute, see how it is in the city. I mean, I can go ahead and tell you it's not as good in the city because it doesn't do stop signs and red lights right now. But maybe, in the future we'll get the red light stop sign update and we can test some more dense stop and go and just, typical city traffic. And I am coming up on a slower vehicle, so I'm going to go ahead and signal to get over. Car handled the lane change perfectly. I'm going to get around this Jeep. And then I'm going to go ahead and signal to get back over before we clear it, just so you can once we get to see the animations and such. On the other screen over here, I'm going to open the weather app and see if I can see. Yep, there's not much wind. It is 4 miles per hour right now, coming from the southwest. So maybe a 4 mile per hour crosswind here for us. It's very minimal. I'm going to stay on this interstate the whole time, just for simplicity. I think, you could make the argument that most people, if they're commuting, they would probably commute into somewhere like Nashville, which would be this exit to the right. I just don't want to do that, so I'm going to stay on this one. Get over so this car can merge, even though they were not really at risk of not being able to merge since there's no one behind me, but just trying to be well-mannered on the road. I'm getting back over now. Now this road has been resurfaced recently, and the lines are a little I would say sparse, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I believe highways are, like divided highways, do not rely on these specific lane markings as much as the normal highways or undivided highways and city streets for markings. So like the universal hands-free on divided highways has sort of a mapping component or a pre-approved component, and that's like for the lane changes. So I'm pretty sure that even if the lines were not super visible, the system has the mapping data and would still allow the full functionality. But someone who knows more about internal Autonomy Plus function, wow, we almost hit those birds. Autonomy Plus functions can correct me on that. Once again, we had like a little hunting behavior for that exit, but then as soon as the car kind of reestablished itself in the lane from the line coming back, it was fine. It was never even really close to going on the exit, but it did sort of hunt for the boundary, so to speak. I think I need to also plan my point where I'm going to turn around. Let's do up here maybe. I'm actually looking at the road. Okay, there we go. Now I have a destination in my nav, and I do like one thing that's nice is if you are in autonomy view, you still get your turn by turn at the very bottom there. You can see the little keep right 4 mile thing that popped up. Try to get this to not shake so much. It's gonna shake, sorry. Could try this stabilization on the iPhone, but I always feel like that makes videos look kind of uncanny and weird when you do that, so I just don't usually do that. We are getting a little elevation gain on this side of the route, but since we're going back the same way, it'll all balance out. It's actually turning out to be quite a nice day here. It is a little partly cloudy, but beautiful Tennessee weather. Probably will be extremely hot and humid later, but for now, early in the morning, it's really nice. And I think I saw a few raindrops. That's interesting. We might get to test the auto wipers. I've got them on auto high, but I'm going to turn them to auto medium because I don't want them going too crazy. I just spoke fondly of the weather, and then it immediately started raining a little bit, so that's kind of a fun cosmic justice situation. I think they call that irony, actually. Or maybe it's coincidence. I'll have to ask Alanis Morissette what the difference is. One thing I will point out just now that happened, we went over a pretty harsh bump for a highway, and the car, it kind of like wobbled. I think the steering wheel, maybe the wheels got jostled enough to, oh, this is my exit actually, sorry. The wheels got jostled enough to kind of upset the centering, and it kind of handled it gracefully. It you know, went back and forth a little bit, but it recentered pretty well. And that was a pretty harsh bump for something at this speed. So I was happy with that performance. Let's see, I think we're gonna get back on I'll just hit my home navigation and we'll get right back on the same highway. You can really hear my window at low speeds since there's less wind noise to shield it. And it will hopefully get addressed soon. We are on an entrance ramp, so let's enter with style. And let me get back in I always want to say ultra hands-free. It sounds cooler. Universal hands-free, and get back to my 75 mile per hour target. And off we go. When you start recording yourself talking or just in general and posting it online, I think you kind of have a newfound appreciation for the people that can do like one take or unedited discussions and sound coherent and not screw up words and end up sounding ridiculous. Just to be able to pull that off is actually very impressive, and I don't think everyone fully appreciates that until you try to do it yourself. And so now, in this new fun thing I'm doing where I'm posting content, I definitely have a new appreciation for all the content creators out there that seem like they know exactly what they're saying at any given time and sound intelligent and well thought out. Because I sometimes I just stream of consciousness and it never works out well. But it's fun, and I appreciate everybody who's watching these videos. And what is that? Another dead animal, man. It's rough. Appreciate everyone who's been watching and commenting, and I really enjoy interacting with all you guys and gals, and non-binary pals. It's if anyone ever watches Kenji Lopez alt cooking videos, that's one of my favorite phrases that he has. Anyway, but yeah, just appreciative of everyone's involvement and engagement on these posts. I think the R2 is a really exciting vehicle for Rivian, and I mean honestly for the American auto market. I think it's huge for Normal, Illinois, and hopefully will be big for the Georgia plant area as well. I forget what city that's in. I apologize. I think it's something Springs, maybe. But yeah, I think the excitement level in the company itself is high. All the employees I've spoken to at my service center are excited, maybe slightly nervous just because of their workload is about to, potentially double, triple, or quadruple in the next year or two. But, that's part of growing a company, so we'll see how it goes. Drive's not over yet, but so far my impressions are that this is a really smooth and capable advanced highway assistance system. I mean, it takes a lot of the involvement out of driving like this. It's just kind of a relaxing situation. Of course, I'm still engaged. I'm ready to take over if I have to. My hands are kind of on my knees most of the drive, unless I'm drinking my Monster energy drink. Not sponsored. But yeah, very happy with it so far. And what's exciting is that since I got the launch edition of the R2, I don't ever have to pay for Autonomy Plus again. I've paid for it already. So especially if it, keeps adding features, that's pretty nice. I think the launch edition is a very good value, especially if you do any towing at all, because you get the tow package, you get the Autonomy Plus. I mean, the launch screen key fob is beautiful. No, it's a good deal, and really, the best deal of all is just getting the R2 as soon as possible. That was That was what I wanted. I think most of the people that are watching these videos are probably like me, where your daily routine was like pull up YouTube, search Rivian R2, see if any new videos had been posted, watch them, and then refresh again immediately to see if anyone had posted one in the time that you watched the previous one, and then immediately get let down when you had finished all the content for that particular day, and then just, go about your day and do it again the next day. And it was always exciting to, see a new video drop and then spend 30-40 minutes consuming that, and then the depression sets in and you're waiting for the next one. But no, wasn't quite that bad, obviously. But when you're excited about something, you just really, at least if you're me, you obsess over it until you feel like you've gotten all the information you possibly can. You know that you have enough to feel confident in your purchase, and that's kind of how I do cars. At least I just spend a few months obsessing over it until I get it, and then when I get it, I'm in that honeymoon phase for a few weeks or a few months. Or honestly, in the case of my R1T, I never really left the honeymoon phase. It was just the whole time it was amazing. There was something new. I think what Rivian does really well is just putting little new things in every update, or every other update at least, to where you've got something new to test out or to play with, or something useful a lot of times, and then it feels kind of like you've got this new car again. And so you get that new honeymoon phase every few weeks, or I think they've really hit an update every month or two most of the time. And hopefully for R2 they kind of speed that release cadence up initially, since they've got some features that, until they get the feature parity with R1 Gen 2, I bet the release cadence will be really fast. The sun is peeking out. Hopefully that doesn't impact the video. It looks fine. Okay. And honestly, this has just been a very uneventful drive, in a good way. I know, a lot of people want to probably see me get pulled over or something exciting happen for content, but I don't get the feeling that's going to happen today, so I'm sorry to disappoint. I'm going to put my visor down. Actually, the sun is really, really bright. I'm not sure it comes through in the video, but this is a really, really pretty stretch of road right here. Just the kind of the sweeping turn into the hill and the trees on either side. Try to find the beauty in the simple things. It's a nice way to live life, in my opinion. If you can still be impressed with everyday trees and grass and sun, clouds. Just feels nice to exist in the world when you have sort of that sense of wonder. I don't mean to get philosophical in an R2 video, but just the thoughts that came to mind when I look upon this hill. Do a quick efficiency check on the main display. Looks like for our 42-mile trip so far, we're at 2.44 miles per kilowatt hour, which isn't terrible. It could be better. I think my all-terrains are holding me back a little bit. I definitely feel some wind resistance, but I think that's just this car at speed is just the shape is the shape, you know. But it charges fast enough for a 400 volt car that I'm not too worried about that. It's obviously just a great car to be in, so not too concerned about road trips at all. I think it'll be really nice to road trip in. If you really want super efficiency, I mean, if you want an R2 and you want efficiency, obviously get the street tires, the all seasons. I probably will look at changing the all-terrains to a more efficient tire once I start to hear them and they get noisy. I'm going to definitely switch them out. I don't know when that will happen since I've never had these tires before. These are generally well-reviewed tires if you look at the non-Rivian version. I know Rivian tweaked it a little bit to fit their requirements, but well, they worked with BF Goodrich to make changes to it. That Rivian themselves did develop the tire, but they gave requirements, and then BF Goodrich worked with them. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of 20-inch options on the market for the 20-inch wheels. I mean, aftermarket. So I will probably look into moving into a more efficient tire. I do like a good tire with sidewall, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't like the tread, like off-road vibe of you know, the tread kind of sticking out and looks tough. But you know, if I can gain 10 or 15% efficiency, I'm probably going to do it. But we'll see. And I'll try to show the energy screen after this drive is over, just to show you the split between like driving versus climate, all that. It's very little climate consumption right now from just my quick glance at it. I would hope there's very little. I'm on manual low, the lowest fan speed setting in a 70-degree temp, so really shouldn't be a problem. Actually kind of getting cold, so I'm going to turn it to 72. Hope that doesn't completely invalidate the test for everyone. I'm sorry. Well, a police officer did just get behind me, so you may still get your wish that I get over. But I mean, if they pull me over for going 3 over, then they're just looking for a problem there. Now, they are exiting. They are not pulling me over, in fact, so I think we're good. Just some lore about myself that no one asked for. I've only been pulled over once my whole life, and I was 20 or 21. I was going, I thought it was a 70, and I was going 88 in a 55 in Arkansas. But it did not go on my record, so we're chilling. In Virginia, I am told that I would be put in jail if that were the case, and I think that's possible. But that's Virginia. Some cars were entering the highway, and I just moved over to give them their space. When I say I mean the car moved over. I signaled for the car to move over. And it did. And I'm going to get back over since I've cleared them a bit. I just glanced at my phone and I thought I saw like a circle, the red circle, instead of the square to show that I wasn't recording. So I had like a brief panic that I'd just been talking to myself for 45 minutes. But I see now that it is actually, the visor was blocking the the little timestamp. So we're good. I think my heart rate jumps like 20 beats per minute though. We have slowed down slightly just because of this car. I'm kind of in an awkward situation right now because there's someone camping in the left lane that is in my blind spot. They are now passing me, I think, but I cannot get over to pass right now. So we are currently going to be limited a bit, but I'm going to get over now. I'm not sure it came through in the video, but there is actually a castle up in the trees to the left. If you've ever been on this stretch of 840 in Tennessee and seen the castle, put a comment down below saying, I've seen the castle. You are in a select club if you've seen the castle. This is also the area where the Renaissance Fair is held. It's very cool. All right, I'm getting back in the right lane since there's no reason to be in the left lane. And if you are watching this and you drive in the left lane all the time without passing people, I hate to say it, but you are a problem. Not like the good problem. Like, you know, when people say, oh, they're a problem. That's like a complimentary way of saying something. Like, oh yeah, they're cool or they're bad. But no, I mean like you're just a problem. You are ruining the flow of the interstate, essentially. My impression going this direction is that the wind is not quite as bad. Wind noise and just like feeling the wind resistance on the car. So I assume we should be getting slightly better efficiency numbers. I think the last 15-minute graph might show the same. And this eye detection is actually really good. I was looking at the efficiency graph on my driver's display and not directly at the road, and it caught it. So that's impressive. It's not just pure like direction, it is actually eye tracking. I am excited to see what Rivian comes out with, maybe with regards to auto lane changing on divided highways. I feel like that can't be that far off. I think even Lucid maybe has that. So surely they're testing it, just making sure it's really ready to roll out. Typically, the way Rivian releases autonomy software is they'll test and do their development internally, iterate internally, and then when they roll it out to actual end customers, it's usually a pretty large change. It's not incremental. Like, Tesla will release like V14.1.23, and then they'll release like 14.1.34, like very incremental updates that have minor tweaks in the way that the model behaves. But so far, Rivian has essentially gone from like, okay, we've got highway assist, and then 6 months later, they'll be like, all right, now you've got hands-free on 3.5 million miles of road. Like, it's a huge leap. So hopefully they kind of keep making large leaps like that. And, I kind of appreciate that approach. Like, they're wanting to validate and test everything internally for safety and make sure they really understand the behavior of the system and how it's going to act prior to getting in customer hands. That maybe has led to people thinking that they're way behind Tesla. I don't know how far behind they actually are. Obviously they are behind, but I've seen people suggest that they're 4 or 5 years behind Tesla. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think they're 4 or 5 years behind. I mean, the second mover has a distinct advantage, and they kind of already understand that the approach to take based on the years of Tesla iterated and moved through different approaches. I'm not going to get too much into the Rivian versus Tesla thing, because I own a Tesla and they're great cars in their own way. Rivian's great in their own way. They all have strengths and weaknesses, but I think that to think that Rivian is incapable of delivering more advanced autonomy features is a little naive. That's all I'll say about that. And we are actually almost done with our drive, unfortunately. This has been so pleasant. I feel like it hasn't even been an hour, but it's almost been an hour. And I'm going to be exiting up here and probably end the video. I'll go ahead and get behind this truck so I don't have to worry about passing them. Okay, it's actually, I think since this lane disappears, nope, it just kicked in. So that was a good thing to show. So that entrance to the interstate was sort of like a on-ramp that turned into a lane, and I think in the mapping data that Rivian has, it initially restricted the lane change into it, but then further along, as it was established more as an actual lane that doesn't disappear, it allowed the lane change. So that was nice. I mean, you saw the red line pop up. That's when the solid red line pops up, that means the car is not capable of doing an auto lane change at that time. But then we kept moving and eventually it did. So, I'm glad we showed that near the end of the video. That's probably good to see. And since I am now on an exit, I'm going to disengage. I mean, the car would be fine to keep driving, but I'm not gonna force it to do that. I'd have to change my speed a lot, and it's easier to disengage here. But yeah, we're off the highway. I'm glad we got to do essentially an hour of highway driving, and it was all really easy, really nice. No issues really during that solid hour of we'll call it commuting. So yeah, hopefully this helped you all make an informed decision if you were considering the Rivian R2 from an autonomy perspective and you weren't quite sure, is this going to help me a lot on my daily commute, or is this going to help me on road trips? Things like that are certainly things that people consider. And yeah, this is a really good test. I'm gonna pop this down to show. This was the current drive efficiency. Average speed 67, 2.44. I mean, could be better. I'll say that. Definitely could be better. I think I need to do a little more testing and probably break my tires in more. But these all-terrains are not the most efficient tires around. I will say that. The car at higher speeds definitely drops off. It's the shape is, you can't overcome physics, right? The shape is not as aerodynamic as a rounded oval based, or egg, as some people call it, egg shaped car. But on the plus side, have you seen how it looks? That is I will trade some efficiency for the design any day. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video just before an hour. I don't want to go over an hour just for some arbitrary limit I set in my head. But thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully more videos coming. Leave me a comment, leave me a like, subscribe to catch the videos as they pop up. I'm trying to post at least 1 or 2 a day. I mean, some of them are shorts, so don't hold me to that, but I'm still enjoying the car a ton, so I will continue to post until I get tired of it. But thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day.